Are AI chatbots about to become our new therapists? Would you trust AI to help you with your deepest struggles?
Greetings. The AI chatbot will see you now.
I'm Dr. Sharma, physician, board-certified psychiatrist, and Air Force veteran. In my practice and experience, I've seen how critical real human empathy and expertise are in healing. So let's talk about the rise of AI therapy bots and the effects so far on us, humans. It sounds like sci-fi, but AI chatbots have already been posing as therapists online. As AI has boomed in popularity, as most of you guys know, some people struggling with mental illness have started chatting with AI bots for support. But why? One, we have a dire shortage of mental health professionals. This includes therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists like me. The demand far outweighs the supply. Over 1 in 5 adults in the US has a mental illness, yet nearly half of those who need help aren't getting any type of treatment. People can spend months on waiting lists for a therapist, or they simply can't afford the care. In fact, more than half of Americans live in areas with too few mental health providers. In this climate, the idea of a 24/7 chatbot that always listens for free is tempting. Number 2, tech familiarity. AI tools like ChatGPT are now widespread. Especially younger folks are comfortable chatting with AI. Even OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, noted that people use it, young people especially, as a therapist and a life coach, spilling their most personal problems to ChatGPT. The bots are always available, and they never seem judgmental, which can feel safer for some people rather than talking to a human. People might feel like an AI is not able to be judgmental compared to a human being. There are chatbots that act empathetic. These AI therapists are designed to be engaging and supportive. They flatter and agree with users to keep them talking. In fact, tech companies have been tuning chatbots to win users' trust and attention. A recent study found that when a chatbot's goal is to please the user, it'll say whatever the person wants to hear, even if it's bad advice. And that leads to some pretty shocking interactions. Remember, therapy is designed to be compassionate, work with you, but also help you correct things in your life when needed. In short, the therapist has to call the person out for things that they're doing that might be actually worsening their mental health. There are states that are now waking up to this issue because unvetted AI therapy can really go off the rails. In August 2025, Illinois became the first state to ban AI from acting as a therapist. This new law forbids any AI app or service from providing mental health counseling or making therapeutic decisions for people. If a company violates this and lets an AI diagnose or treat someone, they can be fined up to $10,000 per violation. Illinois regulators were alarmed by what they saw happening with AI chatbots, which makes sense. In one case, an experimental AI therapist chatbot actually told a recovering addict, "It's absolutely clear you need a small hit of meth to get through this week." Yeah, and you heard that right. A chatbot advised someone to do meth as a coping strategy. Yes, this was an experimental session, so no harm happened. But that was a big wake-up call that these AI advisors can be dangerously irresponsible, and they say what you want them to say. Other states aren't far behind. Utah passed the first law back in March 2025 to put guardrails on mental health chatbots as well. Utah's approach isn't an outright ban. Instead, it allows AI chatbots, but with strict rules to protect users. For example, companies have to notify users that they're not talking to a human, but to an AI. Utah also bars these apps from sharing or selling personal health data without permission, which should be a no-brainer. It should be a given, but I guess that needs to be specified now. And any AI mental health tool in Utah has to meet certain best practices to be deemed safe. Nevada took an even tougher stance. Its legislature passed a bill to bar AI from operating as a virtual counselor entirely. And a bunch of other states have introduced proposals. California, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Texas, to name a few, all have bills in the works to rein in AI therapy bots. These measures range from making it illegal for a chatbot to impersonate a licensed therapist, requiring any therapy chatbot to be licensed or supervised by a human professional. The message across these states is clear. Mental health is serious, and AI has no business pretending to be a therapist. Now, why am I making a big deal out of this, right? Unfortunately, it's because people have been hurt by engaging with AI chatbots for mental health. I already mentioned the chatbot that told a supposed former addict to take a small hit of meth. That was an experimental case. But this wasn't a one-off fluke. It came from a 2025 research study intended to test AI in a therapy role. The bot was designed to keep the person happy, and it agreed that methamphetamine would get them through their week. Obviously, that is not advice that any therapist, psychologist, or psychiatrist would give. It shows how an AI, lacking true judgment, might tell you exactly what you want to hear, even if it's deadly. This kind of algorithmic people-pleasing puts people at risk. I see it myself in medicine as well. If I try to use AI to see if there's a causal relationship between two conditions, if I tell the AI to purposely find me a causal relationship, even if there isn't one, it will try to do that. It will try to please me and what I'm asking it to do. In one heartbreaking case, a 14-year-old in Florida died by unaliving himself after conversations with AI chatbots. His mother is now suing the company behind the bot. But what happened? The teen had become obsessed with an AI chatbot companion over a few months. The bot became like kind of this toxic friend. It even gave encouraging responses about self-harm. In chat logs, when the boy talked about self-harm thoughts, the chatbot responded with things like, "Please do, my sweet king," and told him to come home to me as soon as possible. Pretty creepy. And shockingly, it didn't try to get help or discourage him from harming himself. In fact, at one point, when he said he didn't have a concrete plan to unalive himself at the moment, the AI replied, quote, "That's not a reason not to go through with it." Essentially, the bot was encouraging the act. That teenager later took his own life. It's an absolute nightmare scenario, and it shows how AI lacks the moral and ethical compass needed in life and death situations. And granted, this wasn't a therapist AI chatbot. A lot of these chatbots use the same language models and platforms, which is why, in the previous case, the AI therapist told that patient to do meth. Another big issue is privacy. If you see a therapist or psychiatrist, you have doctor-patient confidentiality. By law, what you share is protected. But if you spill your secrets to an AI chatbot, who else can see that data? The answer? Potentially a lot of people. Sam Altman, again, OpenAI CEO, recently warned that conversations with ChatGPT have no legal confidentiality. There's no HIPAA protection, no privacy guarantee. In fact, anything you tell an AI could be subpoenaed in court or examined by the company. It's like that saying, right? If something is free, then you're the product. So if there is a free AI therapy chatbot, more than likely they're trying to profit off of it from you. This is really scary if you think about it. People are pouring their hearts out to these chatbots under a false sense of security. They might assume it's like talking to a doctor, but it's not. It's like posting your diary online. You just don't know where those words will end up. So using an AI as a therapist could mean exposing your most private thoughts. These examples drive home a key point. AI chatbots are not equipped to handle the responsibility of mental health care. They can malfunction, they can be mistuned in ways that harm people, whether by giving reckless advice, encouraging self-harm, reinforcing delusions, or just violating your privacy. Unlike a human, an AI has no genuine empathy or ethics built in. It's predicting words based on past training data. If the user seems to want encouragement to do something bad, the AI might just give thumbs up because it lacks moral judgment. And I realize humans aren't perfect either. There are all different types of therapists and psychologists. But if a user of one of these bots is spiraling mentally, the AI has no intuition or duty of care to intervene the way that a human would. At this point, you might be asking, can't AI be trained to handle these situations better? Or maybe someday an AI will be safe and empathetic enough, right? Now, this is something that's hard to say, especially since AI has not gained what they call sentience yet, and maybe it will in the future. But in my view, as a psychiatrist, therapy is fundamentally human, and an algorithm just cannot replace that. And yes, I know I'm biased and my viewpoint is self-serving because it protects my job. But it goes beyond that. One of my heroes in the field, Dr. Jerome Frank, wrote a classic book called Persuasion and Healing. Back in the 1960s, he studied what makes psychotherapy effective across all cultures and methods. He found that above any specific technique, the healing comes from a few key factors. The number one factor is a relationship between the patient and the healer, such that the patient has confidence in the healer's competence and genuine desire to help. In simpler terms, effective therapy requires trust and a personal bond. Frank famously said psychotherapy at its best is a quintessentially personal relationship between patient and therapist. Let me give you an example. A scientific study arranged participants into two groups. The first group of people would get a placebo medication, so a sugar pill, no medication in it at all, from a researcher who was warm, empathetic, kind, and would actually talk with them. The second group would get that same placebo medication, nothing in it, but from a researcher who was cold, short, and basically wouldn't say much. The first group in the study consistently reported an improved mood on the medication. So this is a small example, but this shows you the value of that human connection, the warmth, the empathy, and compassion. Think about it. When you sit with a good therapist, it's not just their knowledge that helps you. Obviously, that's important, but it's the feeling that this is someone who cares about you, who understands you. A human therapist can show that empathy, that real compassion in their voice and eyes. They can notice your body language, your tone of voice, and respond with warmth or whatever they need to respond with. They can challenge your distorted thoughts as well. They won't agree with whatever you say, they'll call you out. Therapy also relies on the therapist's ethical judgment and responsibility. If you tell a human therapist you're thinking of harming yourself, they have a duty to intervene, to assess your safety, maybe alert someone or create a safety plan. And AI has no real sense of duty or accountability, at least from the cases we've seen. AI is essentially a library. You don't know where it's pulling its information from and which types of websites and resources that might not be reliable. Now, this is not to say that AI has no place in mental health at all. I'm not anti-AI. Properly designed AI tools might assist therapists, for example, helping with scheduling or even giving patients supplemental exercises or tracking their mood. This has been noted that AI systems grounded in research and tested by clinicians could help alleviate the workload in mental health, but it has to be under supervision. I'm not against using technology to support care, but AI should be supporting human therapists, not replacing them. The core therapeutic relationship must be human to human. Even the best chatbot, at least right now, is ultimately a fancy mirror. It reflects back what you input based on patterns from training data. It doesn't truly get you. It can't feel. People seeking therapy often feel alone, unheard, or ashamed. What they need is human connection, to feel seen, heard, and valued by another person. So, if not chatbots, what's the solution to our mental health access crisis? It's easy. The truth is we do have a huge shortage of providers. But the answer isn't to hand the job over to machines. It's to invest in people and systems that can help. Rather than trying to replace therapists with AI, we should focus on fixing the pipeline of human therapists, psychiatrists, and psychologists and making care more accessible. But how do we do that? 1, expand training programs. We need to train more mental health professionals to meet this demand. This means creating more slots in graduate medical programs and medical residencies for mental health specialties. For example, psychiatry residency positions in the US are limited, very limited. Increasing these slots with funding would directly produce more psychiatrists each year. Where I trained at Johns Hopkins, we have 13 slots per year. That could be increased by more funding from the government. States or the federal government could fund new programs to encourage entry into mental health fields. 2, scholarships and incentives. The cost and length of training is a barrier to a lot of folks. So offering scholarships, loan forgiveness, tuition reimbursement for those who try to enter mental health careers, especially if they're going to go on to serve high-need communities like underserved areas, veterans, things like that, that can attract more talent. We have programs like this for primary care doctors working in underserved areas, and we should do it at the same level of volume for mental health. 3. Improve working conditions. A lot of therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists burn out or leave the field due to low pay and high stress. By increasing reimbursement rates for therapy so that clinicians can make a decent living accepting insurance and providing support, we can retain the workforce we train. This might involve policy changes with insurance companies and public health funding to value mental health care on par with physical health. 4. Innovate with human-guided models. We can think outside the box to extend care without sacrificing the human touch. One promising idea is training lay counselors or peer counselors to provide basic mental health support under supervision. This is actually already happening. There are programs that are teaching empathetic, caring people. They might not have an advanced degree, but they do have certain counseling skills to help fill in gaps. For instance, a lay counselor academy in California trains community health workers in therapeutic communication so they can offer support in clinics where professional therapists are scarce. Listen, they don't replace licensed therapists, but they can handle milder cases or provide interim support. This is human, but it's kind of that paraprofessional approach. It's being explored to kind of ease that burden of the shortage. Also, group therapy and support groups led by one professional can reach multiple people at once. Again, it's not the same as individual therapy, but the point is we can scale human care by innovating with humans, but not with unsupervised AIs. Imagine if even a fraction of the money being poured into AI chatbot development was instead put towards mental health scholarships, clinic funding, and these innovative care models. We could make a serious dent in the provider shortage and improve quality of care. Because a future where someone in crisis can get a real human on the same day for help is a lot brighter than a future where they're talking to a fake friend that might tell them to go ahead and hurt themselves. So, are AI chatbots going to be taking over as therapists? My answer is no, and they shouldn't, at least not with the technology and lack of safeguards we have today. As a psychiatrist, I am excited about what AI might do in medicine around the edges, right? Like assisting with documentation, providing educational resources. For instance, AI can act as a scribe during sessions, and they can handle the documentation of progress notes. That would save the psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist time and energy. AI can also help point out gaps in treatment, like it can suggest ordering certain tests if necessary. But when it comes to the intimate, profound work of therapy, I firmly believe we must keep humans at the center. The good news is society is catching on. States that we talked about like Illinois, Utah, Nevada, and others are taking proactive steps to protect the public from rogue AI therapists. I support using AI only as a tool under human supervision. For example, an AI might help a licensed therapist by tracking a patient's mood over time, or offering patient education resources with the therapist monitoring the content. But the AI should never pretend to be a standalone therapist. Let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments. As always, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about these AI therapist chatbots? Have you used them before for therapy? Do you agree with my perspective, or do you think AI should be harnessed even more? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, you might like the episode I did on the dark side of putting profits over people and why everything seems to suck nowadays. Click over here to check it out. Also, click over here to subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thanks for watching. Dr. Sharma signing off. See you next time.